Hello, my name's Phil Baty. I'm the editor of the Times Higher Education World University Rankings. I'm delighted to be able to take part in this important conference. So the Times Higher Education World University Rankings are one of the original global university rankings. We were founded in 2004, so we have well over a decade of experience in evaluating and working with the world's leading research-intensive universities. The magazine actually has a history that goes back to 1971, so we truly understand the nature of universities. We understand what makes them tick, but we also understand that institutions of higher education are exceptionally complex organizations, and they can't be readily reduced to simple numbers. So why do we rank at all? Well, the World University Rankings are helping students make important decisions, the most important decision of their lives perhaps, who to trust with their education. There are around 4.5 million internationally mobile students in the world today. The predictions are that will rise further to about 8 million in 2025. And research by the company Hobson's found that 1 in 3 international students use the Times Higher Education World University Rankings to help them decide where to study. The rankings also, of course, help universities make strategic decisions about where and what to improve upon. Research from Ellen Hazelcorn in her book Rankings and the Reshaping of Higher Education found that the majority of universities she surveyed are using rankings to inform strategic decisions. They're actually taking the function of data collection and analysis in universities out of the back office, putting it at the center of strategic decision-making and performance measurement. Rankings help universities understand themselves and help university leaders improve their institutions. Data is crucial to that process. Rankings are also helping governments and policymakers understand the changing global higher education landscape. We've seen here from the European Universities Association that rankings are informing policy decisions. They're stimulating national debate and they're driving positive policy changes at system level. So we're really excited that the rankings are used, for example, by the Japanese government as part of their economic growth strategy, by the Indian government as a performance metric, by the Russian government. Right across the world, they're helping the world understand itself better. So with such a huge weight placed in rankings, it's essential that we get the formula right, that we put the rankings on a very strong foundation. So we use 3 key sources of data to create the World University Rankings. We use bibliometric data, looking at research output, we carry out an academic reputation survey, and we also collect tens of thousands of data points from universities right across the world. Our academic reputation survey takes place every year. We received 10,500 survey responses in the most recent survey. We distribute the survey based on United Nations data to ensure that we get a fair representative sample representing global scholarship accurately. We distribute in 15 languages, and we get a very clear balance across all of the core academic disciplines. The institutional data we collect, Times Higher Education, goes out to universities every year asking for a range of basic information. Doctorates awarded, teaching faculty numbers, full-time faculty numbers, research income, total income, international student numbers. We're collecting tens of thousands of data points from about 1,200 of the world's leading universities. But we want to expand this process, work with more and more institutions, collecting data from a wider range of universities to capture a wider range of excellence and a wider range of missions. And the research data we look at is sourced from Elsevier's Scopus journal database. Here we look at around about 50 million citations to 11.3 million publications published over a 5-year window. So we're getting an incredibly rich picture of the global research output, and we're able to judge universities' research excellence based on an analysis of the citations. It's all normalized by discipline, so every discipline is treated fairly and judged against the world averages in each discipline. So we pull these three massive data sources together into the most comprehensive, the most sophisticated of all the university rankings on the market. We have 13 separate performance indicators spread across the full range of a university's core missions and activities. We look at the teaching environment. Here we have 5 separate indicators giving us a sense of what kind of environment students and faculty will find themselves in. This is essential, as any university depends entirely on the quality of its teaching environment. So we look at the reputation for teaching, we look at factors like faculty-student ratios, we look at institutional income. How much resource does a university have? Does it have $100,000 per student or $10,000 per student? That makes a key difference. And within this area where we look at the environment, we're talking about the reputation of a university as well. So actually all the physical infrastructure and the physical environment will feed into the student experience and will have a significant influence on the reputation of a university for a great place to learn, a great place for teaching. We also look at research, we look at the reputation for research, we look at research income, and we look at research productivity in terms of how many papers go into the world-leading journals. And we look at research impact, the analysis of citations, as I say, 50 million citations analyzed. Incredibly important indicator to see how influential each university's research is, how much it's pushing the boundaries of knowledge. We look at international outlook. How successful are you at drawing in global talent? How successful are you at attracting international faculty, international students? And how much of your research is carried out in a global environment with international collaborators? There's evidence that higher cited research is more international in its nature. And we look at industry income. The university's ability to leverage industry income is a key indicator of its innovation, of its third mission activities. So the last results were published in September 2015, and the top 10 is rather predictable. It's dominated by household names across the US and the UK. The big surprise this year was the first ever institution from continental Europe, ETH Zurich, made the top 10 for the first time, but otherwise a rather predictable scene. In Asia, the top rising stars are really exciting performers: National University of Singapore, Peking, Hong Kong U, etc. So we're seeing a shifting dynamic. But within the stars, we can't see much around the rising stars or the emerging nations. But we are looking across the full top 800 universities in the world. We are able to get a much clearer, broader picture by drilling down and ranking a larger number of institutions. And by doing this, I'm very pleased to say we can get an insight into Romania and we can understand their universities better. So actually, we have these 4 institutions making the world top 100 list. The number 1 institution is just outside the top 500. The others feature in the 600 to 800 grouping. We group our institutions at this level because we feel that the data differentials are actually very minimal at this level. But it allows us to pick out some individual strengths. I think there's a challenge here for Romania in terms of improving the performance, improving the competitiveness of its universities. But nevertheless, it's important it has institutions in the mix against our rigorous global criteria. There's probably a few elements I could pull from the data. Let's look at the number 1 institution in Romania. Let's look at its individual profile. So we provide scores on our website for the 5 broad areas of performance. We give a teaching score, we give an international outlook score, an industry score, a research score, a citation score. Here we can see for this institution, and this is true across Romania, research is a challenge. Primarily, the research reputation is an issue. We need to find a way of ensuring that Romanian research is properly disseminated, is properly shared throughout the world, is having a higher impact. And of course, a lot of that means funding. But another area where I think there's perhaps the quickest and easiest potential for future exciting improvement is international outlook. It's the highest scoring aspect here. It's a strong area across Romania. And although it's given a low weighting in the rankings, we think that international outlook is key to driving performance in all the other areas. It will improve your reputation. It will drive up the relevance and the reach of your research. It will help ensure that Romanian institutions are drawing in and retaining global talent. And just to conclude by re-emphasizing that point and stressing that point, we spoke to Alice Gast, the president of one of the world's most international universities in terms of its research collaborations, in terms of its faculty makeup and its student population. And she told us no university can achieve world-class status without a global community of staff, students and collaborators. Innovation emerges from the creative synergies that occur when people from different cultures, disciplines and sectors come together. And I'm delighted to see from the Times Higher Education World University Rankings data, Romanian universities do have a strong international outlook. So building on that, strengthening with resources and a diversification of income and improvements on the environment, I think there's a bright and exciting future for the universities of Romania. Thank you very much for your attention. Please engage with us on our social media channels and visit timeshighereducation.com to view the rankings in full and explore all of our data. Thank you very much indeed.